Hi everyone, it's Lynn. I'm back. And the video I'm working on and trying to put together, and hopefully it'll come out okay without me stammering all over the place. To begin, I think our reality, our norm in this country is about to change. It's not for the good if Trump gets his way. The events going on around the world and in this country, in my opinion, are coordinated. Some signs point to Russia. There's no way to really know, and there's no way I believe Trump is doing any of this on his own. If someone asked me a year ago, did I think it'd be possible for Trump to take apart our country, democracy, and freedom, I'd say nope. But it appears to be otherwise. I do believe at this point that's what he's doing, but again, I think he's had help. I think it was orchestrated for him to be in the position he is. I don't call him president of the United States because he's not. He's traitor. He's a traitor, horrible human being, disgrace in our country, destroying our allies, picking us apart, pitting American against American and ally against ally. Russia has always wanted to destroy our democracy. Trump, at this point, does not recognize any of the other branches of the government. That effectively makes us a socialist state. He is systematically dismantling our democracy, one law at a time, placing and hiring people in the positions that will most benefit him, support him, and look the other way and allow it because 9 out of 10 they have the same agenda. They believe they're better than us. They believe and support the white supremacy and that the white people are more superior in every other way than anybody. And they're not, definitely not. Back in 1938, January 27th, Ariel Durant said, "A great civilization is not conquered from without until it has destroyed itself from within." I think we've reached that point. I believe 200 years ago, nobody knew what would happen. Since World War II, as a country, nation, we have become relaxed. We let our defenses down, so to speak, while we are looking to protect ourselves from enemies abroad. We forgot to watch for the enemies within, where we were the most vulnerable. Trump, Russia, Putin, all the same to me, are using massive amounts of negative propaganda in exactly the same way that Nazi Germany and Hitler did. The reason Hitler was so successful when the stock market crashed in 1929, the crash itself precipitated a global financial crisis. American banks that were heavily vested in Germany And contrary to many beliefs, Germany had mostly recovered from World War I. The sudden loss of American capital wiped out those gains and exacerbated the already chaotic political atmosphere in Germany. People were starving, they were homeless, no jobs, no food, all kinds of good things, no health care. Hitler had promised to restore Germany to its normal, provide the German people with better goods, gaining everybody's support. Trump is doing exactly that, if you haven't noticed. Then you have the use of negative propaganda, which Joseph Goebbels was the minister, and he was incredibly good at it. I don't know if anybody has ever looked at it. But anyway, they use negative propaganda, which is used to actually shape messages being delivered to the public to suit the communicator's interests. The messages are normally prejudiced, made up of half-truths or psychologically and emotionally loaded to provoke the masses to action. Trump is doing this currently as well. Hitler employed propaganda to indoctrinate the masses through the variety of media. He also used his book Mein Kampf to communicate his ideas on socialism, racism, and anti-Semitism. The idea from the Nazi Party was that Germany had to fight its enemies. Again, Trump is doing this, and as his best example, he uses the Democrats. He's blaming them for everything wrong with our world. So it was so effective with Germany that in the masses, because there were no foods, job, etc., they were easily convinced because of the promises of jobs and everything else in between. And it got worse, as we all well know. But not every German believed in Hitler's views. One in particular was German Erwin Rommel. He was one of those people. He was also a great military leader. He was chivalrous and highly regarded by many United States and British soldiers, namely George S. Patton. And Rommel had the same regard for Patton as well. Rommel was tasked in 1937 to train Hitler's youth to be barbaric. Rommel refused this, and he was eventually reassigned in 1938. Rommel also refused to massacre innocent people. And Rommel, on July 20th, 1944, was implicated in the plot to kill Hitler. But because Rommel was so highly respected, he was not executed. But he was, however, given an option to commit suicide voluntarily or to watch his entire family be slaughtered. Rommel chose voluntarily commit suicide, and thus saving his family, because I believe his son had wrote this article on him. I don't have every answer. I don't know if I have any answers, but I know that if we don't get involved, those of us that still care about what's going on and want us to stay a democracy, I think we are duty-bound, obligated to help in any way we can. So my thinking is that as individuals, how to do that? How do we as individuals help turn around the negative propaganda, fact check, educate, and correct the misinformation to those who are convinced by Trump's rhetoric and negative propaganda? How do we get these people to let go or replace the ideas, illusions of Trump's promises? That is easier said than done. The statement that Trump created, "Make America Great Again," this had already been stated by Ronald Reagan as his platform back in the 80s when he ran for president. There are two ideas here. The first one being, and this is the most difficult, is to disassemble Trump's idea completely. For example, the infomercial that Robert De Niro, Martin Sheen, Lawrence Fishburne, and others that have recently been published, in theory it's good. The positive thing that it did, it brought up the Mueller report, but it ended up being negative propaganda that kind of helps Trump's purpose. And by that, let me explain. The first thing is they attacked Trump. The tone was negative. They didn't attack the politics, so this kind of puts the supporters of Trump on the defensive and want to support him even more. It adds fuel to the fire. The second thing is the commercial didn't reference any specific point, page, or paragraph in the Mueller report. It was kind of vague, so specifics goes a long way. The commercial video incited fear, and that's as simple as I can make that one. Number 4, the video devalued Trump supporters as a whole, their ideas, their belief in Trump, without backing any of the statements with facts. 5, the video is too broad. There's too many accusations in the ad and no supporting facts other than collusion. 6, the video had all actors in it. There were no average Americans, no average taxpayer speaking, and they're not exactly relatable to the people, although the message was good in my opinion and could be done differently. But nonetheless, my take was overall the only positive thing was the Mueller report was mentioned, but no specifics. It was too vague. Okay, the easiest way to replace an existing idea or to assimilate it, kind of like in the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers, if anybody remembers that one with Donald Sutherland. This idea takes the longest amount of time to make or see any kind of change. The statement, "Make America Great Again," you have to remember Trump and his team assimilated and took Reagan's idea back in the 80s in order to pervert it into what they wanted you to hear and believe. That's why Stalin and others understood that the only way to destroy democracy is to assimilate it under the disguise of "Make America Great Again." The common tools that you can use, I've only got 2 of them here, but there is another one that's real lengthy, so I'll have to do a separate video for that. The common tools apply to both the positive and negative of propaganda. The first one, create doubt, meaning cause those who believe in an idea to doubt its validity. Example, Trump made people believe that we were no longer great, and in turn that caused doubt in the system itself. So in essence, we need to create doubt in Trump's system. Let's say, what makes Trump angry beyond belief? It is when he is fact-checked and looks bad in front of others. This in return causes major doubt and makes him look bad. For example, the biggest one would be Sharpiegate. Negative propaganda is the enemy's truth-based facts. So negative propaganda is truth based on facts. The reason Trump goes on his rants is damage control. The strongest tool against negative propaganda is a continuous flow of the truth supported by facts, documentation, and given to the masses so they can make their own informed decisions. Provide solutions to the doubt. This will reinforce the doubts that are being created, therefore giving momentum to the erosion of the negative propaganda. Example, Sharpiegate again. What made Trump become unhinged? It was the various departments that singularly pointed out the misinformation that Trump was indeed wrong. It gave him a dent in his armor, and he was being exposed, and we all know how he reacted to that. So every time he's called on it and he can't produce the actual truth, he deflects it, blames somebody else, or he draws Alabama on the map. And as to why I'm doing this, I'm a veteran. I like our country a lot. I believe wholeheartedly in the democracy, the Constitution. I served in the Army. I was deployed to Germany, and my unit was the 128th Combat Support Hospital. We were deployed to Beirut, Lebanon, when the bombing of the Marines, the 200 soldiers that were killed. We had to go pick them up, their body parts, bring them back to Germany, identify them, send them home so they could be buried and honored and mourned by their loved ones. Trump Jr. walked through Arlington, disgraces everybody. He made light of their losses, the Marines, everybody that walked before him, our founding fathers, any Native American, any African American, and compared those sufferings to their sacrifice. But nobody's making the biggest sacrifice, in my opinion, today than the United States of America and our allies. We're being torn apart, separated, annihilated. And unless we all as individuals come together and find a way to educate Trump supporters without the negativity, because every time we bash them, every time we use profanity, It puffs up Trump's platform, no doubt about it. But we need to help them. Fact check, document, send it to them, try to explain, and just leave it at that. They have to make their own choices, but since they're conditioned, it's going to be really difficult. But we can't give up because we have more to lose than we know. So, and that being said, I'm trying to ensure my grandchildren and my future granddaughter, due soon, has a freedom, has America. So, please, let's get the word out. Create join the resistance, do flyers, knock on doors, educate, 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 educate. Because eventually we're not even going to have a media except Trump's. We won't be allowed to have information. We won't be allowed to have a say or rights. This country has been in that position before when we broke free from England and fought a monarchy. Well, Trump is already a dictator. We all know that. So please spread this around. Let's door knock, flyers, and save our democracy. And in turn, saving that, we can help our allies as well. God bless America. Thanks for listening to me.